It's National Signing Day live here at Rivals.com, and we're pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. It's Greg Schiano, fresh off of another National Signing Day. Greg, do these get old?
Not when you get classes like this, they don't. I'll tell you what, I'm really thrilled with our class and thrilled with our team. I think it's a fun time to be at Rutgers.
Yeah, absolutely. We sense some themes going on in how you've put together this class so far. 24 verbal commitments. We'll get into some geography here in a bit. But on paper, and I know this isn't the most popular with your profession, on paper, the best class since you came back to Piscataway. So obviously validation to some degree with what you've put together. But let's go to the quarterback, right? AJ Surace, one of the more versatile, I would say, quarterbacks that we've seen on tape in this class. What did you like about him initially, and what have you learned about him as you got closer to this point?
Well, AJ is really an exciting player for us because we know him very well. We've known him for a while. I've known his dad for a long time. His dad is the high school or the head coach at Princeton. His grandpa was a legendary high school coach in New Jersey, so he comes from a football family. He grew up around the game, and really, I think is going to be a great quarterback in the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah, and in the Big Ten, you need the big targets, right? I think we've got a bit of a conundrum. We've got KJ Duff listed as the tight end, more of a receiver in your interpretation, but either way, a dynamic blue chip type weapon, and another number one player in the state of New York coming to Jersey. Tell me about that recruitment and obviously the ceiling that you see with Duff.
Well, you're right. You mentioned he's number one. I'm not a big rankings guy, to be honest with you, but somebody gets ranked. In the last 3 years, we've had the number one player from New York as ranked by the several recruiting services. So that's always good because if they're not one, they're probably 2, 3, or 4, right? So exciting time. KJ is a tremendous talent. He is athletic. He's big. He's long. He's got great hand-eye coordination, great athleticism. He's a guy that we've known for a long, long time. I feel like he's already part of our program. He's been over here so much. And, for us at Rutgers, we believe that the state of New Jersey and New York City and Long Island is all one thing. It's the state of Rutgers. And we're by far the closest of any Division I program to all those places. And we think that those are the areas that we need to be in every single year, be in every single school every single year. So that's what we do. And then after that, we go nationally and we recruit wherever there's a player that we think fits the makeup that we're looking for. And KJ certainly fits that in every way, athletically, culturally, and academically. He's a home run in all 3 areas.
You mentioned the national approach, but how about international, crossing that border up to Canada? Several Canadians, both from the province and certainly playing in the States as well. The Lumen twins come to mind from down here in South Florida. What is it about that Canadian ball player that Rutgers continues to prioritize?
Well, I think we have great relationships in Canada. It goes way, way back to, as an assistant coach, as a young assistant coach, I recruited Canada and got to know a whole different generation of people that were in the football world. And the football world was much less developed then than it is now. But still, it's not at the level that it is here with the notoriety and all the coverage. So if you do your work and you study hard and you go around and find the guys and really dig, you can find great players. With the guys that are coming in this year in our class, we'll end up having 7 guys on our roster from Canada next semester. And we are thrilled with that. And it just so happens that they're all on the defensive side of the ball. So,
right.
Our front 7 is going to have a lot of Canadians in it. And hopefully that'll continue to feed and be something that the guys can talk about with their buddies back home.
In this class and several classes, you've been able to pull those Canadians that don't leave until college and those that maybe take, I don't know what you call it, a redshirt year in Florida or maybe at one of the private schools in the Northeast. Do you see a difference between those two styles, those two paths towards college football? Is there a different learning curve for those different groups, or do you see success early with both?
Well, I think it's all, depending on the individual. Everything is an individual situation. I think when the guys that come from Canada and go down into Florida and into the States at different boarding schools and prep schools, I think they get a little bit more quote unquote Americanized, right? With all the notoriety that recruiting in the United States provides, right, with people such as Rivals and all the other recruiting lines that cover high school football and college recruiting. So they become a little bit more worldly or aware of what goes on. But from the football standpoint, no one comes to college, or very few people come to college ready to play. So it's not really our concern. Our concern, again, goes back to the same three things. Are they an athletic fit? Are they a cultural fit? And are they an academic fit? And if the answer is yes to all three, here we go. If it's 2 out of 3, you got to make a decision. 1 out of 3, you're probably looking elsewhere. And I'll tell you, these guys that we have recruited from Canada this past year are all 3 for 3s.
Well, the Lumen Twins are down in South Florida, but the state of Florida has always been important to Rutgers. I remember seeing billboards on I-95 growing up in Miami for Rutgers. I'm like, what is that? As like a 10-year-old. But obviously now we know that pipeline is something that is real through even conference transition realignment, the portal. No matter what, Rutgers is coming down to the state of Florida. And there's obviously another group now officially on board with RU. But I got to talk about Dakari Gilly, coming out of Jacksonville. I'm curious about his positional projection. Love his tape. I mean, he screams downhill and makes a ton of easy-to-see plays. Do you see him at the second level, or can he be a bigger hybrid safety type?
Oh, I think he can do whatever he wants to do. He's a tremendous athlete. He has range to play deep safety. He has explosion to play kind of that nickel star position. I think he's a very multifaceted player that can fit a lot of different spots. Loves football, absolutely loves it. Is totally a football junkie and is a guy that does well in the classroom. So what more do you ask for? Right? He can do it all, and we're thrilled. Again, Florida has been so good to Rutgers over the years, and it goes way, way back to when I first arrived in 2000, the year 2000, and we took this job. There was a point in our program where I believe we had as many as 36 guys on scholarship out of 85 from the state of Florida. So it's not quite at that level now because we recruit more nationally, and we've been able to sign more of the guys in New Jersey and New York that we want to. But it's a huge part of our recruiting, always will be. I fell in love. When I was at the University of Miami, I fell in love with Florida high school football. They play it year round. They got 20 spring practices. That's more than we get, right? So, I mean, these guys, they really, if they're good players and good programs, they love football because they play it year round.
Yeah, it certainly shows with your track record and recent history. Well, all the best to you going forward, Coach. Happy holidays, all the 9, and we'll see you early in the new year after the bowl game.
Yeah, John, thanks for having me on. Have a great holiday. Take care.